Emily Park never believed in haunted objects, cursed homes, or the kind of ghost stories small American towns love to whisper about, until the night she discovered the mirror hidden in the basement of her new house in Red Creek, Washington. The house was old, but charming, surrounded by endless pine forests that whispered at night and long, curving back roads where fog hung low like drifting spirits. Emily moved there for peace, for silence, and to forget everything she had gone through in Seattle. But the moment she stepped into that basement, silence became the last thing this house ever offered her. The basement smelled of damp wood and mold, the kind of cold that isn't just temperature but something older. Like the air itself, remembers pain. At the far corner, half buried under dusty crates and a rusted toolbox, stood an enormous Victorian-era mirror, its silver frame tarnished and eaten by time. Emily wiped her sleeve across the glass and froze. The reflection staring back at her wasn't hers. It was her face, same features, same hair, but the eyes. The eyes were jet black, like bottomless pits swallowing all light. And the expression, it wasn't copying her. It wasn't delayed like a glitch. It was independent. When Emily stepped back, the reflection stepped forward, closer to the glass, as if it knew she couldn't look away now. Over the next few days, strange things happened. The reflection changed daily. Sometimes it appeared bruised. Sometimes its lips were cut. Sometimes its clothes were drenched in something dark and thick. Sometimes there was someone standing behind it. Emily tried to convince herself it was exhaustion, stress, anything but supernatural. She was a nurse. She believed in science, not shadows. But shadows believed in her. They followed her. At work, she saw something move in the stainless steel fridge door. At the gas station, she caught a glimpse of her dark-eyed version standing behind her in the car window. And one night, while brushing her teeth, she saw the reflection smiling, even though her real face wasn't. That was the first time she screamed. The second time was worse. At 3:14 a.m., she woke up to the sound of footsteps above her room. Heavy, slow, dragging footsteps. She lived alone. When she stepped into the hallway, every light in the house flickered violently, and at the end of the corridor, just for a second, she saw herself. But this version wasn't in a mirror. This one stood in her house, motionless, pale, wearing torn hospital scrubs soaked in blood. And in her hand, something that looked like a surgical tool. Emily didn't remember running back into her room, but she remembered locking the door and staying awake until sunrise, unable to shake the image of herself standing in the darkness. The next night, she gathered the courage to go back to the basement. She needed to confront this, understand it. But when she descended the wooden steps, every light bulb overhead burst, one by one, until only the dim glow of her phone illuminated the room. The mirror was no longer in the corner. It was standing in the center of the basement, facing her, waiting. Her breath fogged in the freezing air. The glass rippled like water, and her reflection slowly rose into view. But this time she wasn't alone. A forest flashed behind her reflection. Tall black trees, police sirens, yellow crime scene tape whipping in the wind, and a covered body bag placed on an empty road. Then a shaky, handheld view of a woman running, crying for help, while someone who looked exactly like Emily, chased her with something sharp in her hand. Then the word appeared on the mirror, carved by an invisible finger. Emily stumbled back, heart racing. Switch? Switch what? Switch lives. Suddenly, something slammed against the other side of the mirror. The glass cracked. Then again. A harder hit. More cracks. Then, a whisper. So close it felt like it breathed against her. The glass burst outward, not in shards, but in long, razor-thin slivers that hovered in the air like floating knives. And in each shard, Emily saw a different version of herself. One screaming, one laughing, one covered in blood, one whispering prayers, one holding a knife dripping red. And at the center of them all, the black-eyed reflection, smiling wider than any human could. The shards rotated fast, like a whirlpool of mirrors, each showing a different possible Emily, each one worse than the last. Emily ran for the door, but it slammed shut with a force that rattled her bones. The entire basement shifted darker, colder. The mirror didn't just show futures. It chose futures. The reflection stepped forward, literally. Its foot pressed through the surface like the mirror was soft as liquid. Then another step. Its hand reached out, long fingers dripping something like ink, or blood, or both. Emily tried to scream, but no sound came out. She felt herself being dragged, not physically, but her reflection, the real one, started moving against her will. Her real reflection vanished, replaced by the dark-eyed version pressing its palm against the glass, inviting her to trade places. Her phone light flickered, then died. Something cold wrapped around her wrist, familiar, human, but dead. A grip that felt like touching winter. The black-eyed Emily leaned forward until her lips were against the glass and whispered. Emily was yanked forward with impossible strength. Her body slammed against the mirror, and instead of breaking, she fell through it, into darkness, into freezing air, into a place where sound didn't exist. She wasn't in the basement anymore. She was inside the mirror. Emily screamed silently, pounding on the glass from the inside as the other version, her dark twin, stepped out of the mirror, looked back at her with a wicked grin, and simply said, "The next morning, the police came after the hospital reported Emily missing. They searched the house. No blood, no struggle, no sign of forced entry, only a single mirror in the basement. Clean, polished, almost new." One officer swore, absolutely swore, he saw a woman inside the glass pressing her hands against it. A woman with Emily's face, a woman silently begging for help, but when they blinked, she was gone. Today, the house is still on the market. Cheap, unoccupied. Everyone avoids walking past it at night because locals say that sometimes, if you walk by the basement window, and if the moonlight hits the glass just right, you don't see your own reflection. You see someone else wearing your face, smiling, waiting, wanting out.